The NDP government has a mountain of legislation on tap as the spring session gets underway. Significant bills include plans to end mandatory overtime for nurses and a ban on street weapons in parks. And there are also promises to help with the cost of living in the upcoming budget. CTV's Jeff Keele joins us now live with those details. Jeff, what was the focus as MLAs returned to the chamber today?
The PCs grilled the Premier over recent ER deaths, calling again for a public inquiry. Healthcare, crime, and the cost of food are on the province's agenda for the spring session.
When our budget comes forward, we're going to have some really strong measures on affordability.
There are nearly 36 proposed laws that could be put forward by the NDP government. On crime, proposed legislation to restrict long-bladed weapons and another bill to ban street weapons in parks and on buses. On health, laws to stop the requirement for sick notes and mandatory OT for nurses and establish a nurse-to-patient ratio.
If you know that when you go to work, you are working with a workload that is manageable and that your patients are getting great care, that you're going to be able to leave at the end of your shift and not be mandated, that's a big, big recruitment and retention issue.
And healthcare dominated the first question period back. PC leader Abhi Khan reiterated his call for a public inquiry into the health system following a number of emergency room-related deaths.
I'm asking the question that the families have asked me to ask on their behalf. Will the Premier call a public inquiry into the deaths of their loved ones while they waited for healthcare treatment?
We're committed to listening to the desires that they have for answers, to working through the processes before them, to provide those answers, and perhaps most importantly, to take action.
Later this month, the NDP government will unveil the 2026 budget with a pledge to cut food prices. Premier Wab Kinew says they will go after what's known as predatory pricing.
A ride-sharing company would charge you more for a ride if your phone has less battery charge on it. And a food company engaged in predatory pricing when you're ordering groceries would charge you more if they think you can afford to pay for it.
Now, last month, the province did announce it was starting a study on lowering grocery prices.
Jeff, was any legislation introduced today?
Yes, Justice Minister Matt Wiebe reintroduced a government bill that would require the Court of Appeal to render an opinion on if the province wanted to use the notwithstanding clause, which can override specific rights. And PC MLA Ron Schuler reintroduced a private member's bill to end that practice of switching the clocks back and forth, which we will have to do this weekend. But the Premier has already said this week he's not interested in that at this time, as he has other priorities.